Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to GP Roundtable, a new episode focusing on the market, a crazy market for a crazy championship, guys. With us, Manuel Pesino from Spain. Hi, Manuel.
Hola, hola desde Madrid.
Buenos dias.
Buenos
Matt Oxley from UK, from England. Hi, Matt.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you, Michel Turco from France. Michel.
Ciao, guys, from Paris.
And Giovanni Zamagni from Italy. Ciao, Zam.
Ciao da Milano. Ciao,
Ciao,
tutti.
nice to see you. Nice to see you. So, guys, we have this.
Franco,
Yes,
Franco.
Manuel.
Seeing how our friend Michel is dressed, I think Paris is not the place to be today.
No, not even Milan, I can say. Also, Milan is cold.
Yeah, winter is back.
Winter is back.
So come to Spain. Come to Spain. We have sun and virus. Come to Spain.
And races.
And races. And
yeah,
races.
and Grand Prix. Okay. So, guys, we are going to focus, as I said, on the market, because there are several topics very interesting, and maybe some domino effect that could be moving from this. Let's call it a new, very special news that we had in the last few days. And I ask you if we can call it a new or just something that could happen. We're talking about the arrival for 2021 to Team HRC of Paul Espargaró. It seems something that can be very real. And I ask you, what do you think about that? Can we call it something that has already been done or something that could be done? I would start from Giovanni Zamagni with your opinion and your ideas regarding this market.
Thank you so much, Franco. Thank you so much.
Boom, boom.
You do appreciate them. I think you appreciate that.
My opinion is there are two ways. One way, I think that it's true that Paul Espargaró will go in HRC. And if it's true, because we don't know exactly, but if it's true, there are two ways. One way, Alberto Puig, my friend Alberto Puig, is completely crazy, because I think that we know how much important is Marquez inside the Repsol Honda, and how much important is Emilio Zamora, the manager. So you are completely crazy. This is the first way. If you put off Alex Marquez. The second way, and I believe that this, because repeat, I think that Alberto Puig is a good manager, as Manuel Pesino think the same. No, the other way is that everything was already done in the past. I mean, in November we know that Jorge Lorenzo left Honda, so they had the problem to replace him, and the only one was Alex Marquez. But they did to him just 1 year contract. Why? It was strange, in my opinion. And if you see now, probably it's not so strange. Probably they did a 1 year contract, and they were agreed about this solution. And from November, Alberto Puig always speaks very well about Paul Espargaró. But Paul Espargaró had the contract with KTM until this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, they were all agree, and the solution is to put Alex Marquez in Cecchinello team. This is my opinion.
Okay,
Two ways.
okay.
Or he's completely crazy, or everything
Or
was
there
already
was
done.
something already written from the past. Okay, Manuel. You
I join completely Giovanni's theory about that is done, not about Alberto Puig management skills. This is clear. But I join him with the story about this is something that was planned. In fact, what he said, Alberto talking about Paul very positive way, saying that his results didn't show how good rider he was, saying that with a winning bike he would do much better. Suddenly, we realized that the words probably were for something. Okay, this is now it appears like this. What the only thing that doesn't match in this story, in this theory, is the silence of Honda at this moment, because I think you agree with me that at this moment the figure of Alex Marquez is like the figure of a poor guy, and nobody has came out to defend him in front of him looking like a poor abandoned guy. This is the only theory. The rest, I join completely Giovanni's theory.
Would you like to go, Michel, then, and then we go to Matt?
Matt, or
you go, Michel.
Okay, yeah, I'm a bit surprised, like said Manuel, about the silence of Honda, but more than that, the silence of the Marquez quarter, because
yes,
they stay quiet, and it's obvious that it's, in my opinion, they know, like said Giovanni, they know that for a while, so it's not for them a surprise. But what a strange management, because remember in November there was a casino in the Honda Repsol team, because okay, they took Marquez, but during weeks we heard about Zarco, because Zarco was supposed to join, and then Zarco was supposed to join LCR, and Crutchlow was supposed to reach the factory team. So why not to take Cal? Because he shows that he can win with Honda. Okay, Paul has an aggressive riding style. Maybe he can match with Honda more than he matched with Yamaha. For me, the choice of Paul is not so obvious, because what he, with all the respect I have for him, he didn't show great things since he's arriving in MotoGP. He did good races with a Yamaha, but I mean, when you see what Zarco has done after, without speaking about Quartararo, but it was not a big deal. So yeah, for me everything is really strange, and I don't understand the management of Honda, the management of Alberto Puig, and why they. So the only thing I can see is through the line. It's the war has begun inside Honda between let's say Alberto and Alzamora. So maybe they have suddenly understood that Marquez is too strong in Honda. But why did they sign him for 4 years now? So yes, something is wrong for me.
Okay, I go to Matt, also thinking about what Manuel said. Manuel said that Puig has said in the last few days that Paul Espargaró on a winning bike could be a match winner. We have even to consider that Honda, maybe it's not a winning bike, but Marquez is a winner. So let's think also about that.
I'm not very good on this contract stuff, but just looking at Paul, he's told me that he didn't like his style. He didn't like the Yamaha. Most guys, Zarco and everyone, they jump on the Yamaha, Quartararo, and most riders just, it's such a great easy bike. But Espargaró never really kind of excelled on it, and I think what he's done on the KTM. I mean, look at Le Mans last year. The KTM needs a lot of grip. And at Le Mans there's a lot of grip. He finished 6 seconds down on the winner. I know that's only one race, but nonetheless, that's an astonishing. I mean, it was a difference of like 2 seconds, 0.3 seconds a lap, 0.2 seconds a lap on Marquez. I think, none of us know how good the KTM is. Who else has done any good on it? Look at Zarco.
Matt, you should ask Zarco about how good the
yeah, I mean, but Espargaró likes to fight with the bike. That's what he actually likes to do. He told me last year he uses the curb as traction control, because the curbs are painted with paint grippy paint, which is always more grippy than the asphalt, always. And some of the riders have realized this, and they use the track, because the traction, they actually use the curb as traction control now. So they get the thing spinning, and then so it's turning the bike, and then it gets to the curb, and then it grips, and off they go. You know, I mean, wow. I mean, you know, when they tell you something like that, you go, you know. So I think he's a pretty good rider, and Zam's theory that maybe the deal was already done. I mean, that sort of stuff fascinates me once I actually know what was done, rather than kind of thinking what might have been done. And then obviously the other thing is that the really interesting thing is Lorenzo. If all the dominoes fall into place, like Espargaró goes to Honda, let's say Dovizioso goes to KTM. Wow, how amazing it would be if Lorenzo would come back with Ducati. And then that brings out the kind of, I'm already thinking of Lorenzo when he retired at the end of last year, and we now all know that was a complete act. We were all completely fooled, you know. I think he did that. He knew what he was doing. And I mean, when he was in London, he went to acting school, didn't he? He went to theatre school.
Yes.
When Lorenzo was living. Now I know why. Because he pretended that he was retiring. We're like, oh, okay, great. And then, wow. I mean, what a story. If he did come back to Ducati, I mean, his career the last few years has been, you know, you could write a book about it. Sorry. Going on.
Okay, Michel, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just one thing. I think for in my opinion, it's getting pole. It's a kind of defeat of Honda, because why they took Lorenzo to help them to have a more smoother bike, and what they will get two riders like who rides very aggressively, coming from Moto2, and Moto2 they are the same style. With a big slide in the entry of the corner. Yeah. So they will develop the bike only once again in the same way. So I think there is, once again, for me, it's very strange.
Matt, don't you think that the one who is going to be sacrificed in this story is Cal? Because Cal, at the end of last year, he said that he was going to retire, right? So as I see this, it's just my feeling, Honda looked for somebody who could replace him alongside Marquez with a riding style that could help Marquez like Cal's does. Do you see him sacrificing this story?
Maybe. I mean, Cal's been at LCR for 5 years now, and for sure, maybe he will be sacrificed. But there's also the other thing that maybe Cal has done long enough at LCR. Maybe he's thinking of, you know, maybe you could get a ride somewhere. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe Aprilia. Maybe, you know. Yeah,
but
I think he's kind of coming towards the end of his career, and you know, if somebody offers him a good amount of money, I don't see him sort of, you know. I think maybe he'll be pushed. Maybe he'll jump.
But he explained to us, remember here, he explained to us that he was thinking he had changed his mind and he was thinking to race at least one more year. So suddenly the plans that maybe Honda had and himself has gone all in clash situation.
I mean, it's amazing how everything, I think because of the virus and everything, we're all been a bit distracted, and then suddenly this last week or two, you know, a few weeks ago, Rins signs, Mir signs, Miller signs, and then boom, kind of everything like, wow. You know, I think there's suddenly a mad scrabble for riders, and yeah, I think it's going to be, I have no idea what's going to happen, you know, but it's with a bit of luck, we'll get a few changes, you know.
And I think, if you allow me, I think that for Alex Marquez, getting out of this garage is the best thing that can happen for him and for his brother. Because look, having the same painted bike, it may sound stupid, but you can compare, you know, the brother and where is the other one? And in my opinion, Alex will suffer a lot on that bike. So being on the same bike, but somewhere else, and even with another painting on the fairing, this takes a lot of pressure. So this pressure will be on Paul if he comes. People will start to compare Mark with Paul instead with Mark and Alex?
For this reason, I think that everything was already written. I think that they have this plan. And about Paul Espargaró, I'm not agree with Michel. For me, Paul Espargaró is a very good rider. Very good.
I didn't see he's not a good rider, huh, Giovanni?
For me, very good rider.
Very but Giovanni, if you look, Zarco has 2 world titles, right?
Okay.
Alex
Paul
Marquez
one.
has 2 world titles. Alex Marquez has 2 world titles. Lorenzo has a lot of them. Is Paul Espargaró better as these 3?
No, of course not. I don't know. I don't know if he's better. I don't know. But for sure, in my opinion, he's a good rider. And about Crutchlow, for me, it was clear last year that Honda doesn't want him, because if he wanted him, he took him to put in the HLC. It was clear. Michele was right to say that. But in my opinion, they doesn't want him. And Paul Espargaró, I think that he's a good rider.
Okay, you know what? Just listening to you, as all the friends are doing, listening to your words, the very weird thing is that all of these movements have been done before the beginning of the season, before seeing if Alex Marquez is really so bad compared to Mark, if Paul Espargaró, everything has been done too early. It's so strange. I mean, how can we think that Mark will not be affected by the thing that Alex has been thrown away, has been cut, has been rejoiced? I mean, that there must be something affecting Mark, unless they already knew that, but we don't know. Matt, I think everything is so strange.
There may not have been any racing yet, but the problem is that it's June, and pretty much everyone is out of contract at the end of this year. And like I said, once Marquez is signed, Mir, Rins, Miller, and then so suddenly, it doesn't matter that there's not been any racing. There's a limited amount of riders around, and you need to go out and get them. It doesn't matter whether we've been racing or not. So I think that's suddenly why everything's gone crazy.
And exactly this, Giovanni, Ducati. What do you think is going to happen? Because suddenly Ducati looks to be offside. If they don't renew with Dovizioso, then they are completely offside.
I don't know really the situation in Ducati, but it's true that in the last week, I think that they trying more with Dovizioso. For example, 2 days ago, I think, or 3 days ago, Paolo Ciabatti said that it's also possible to do a contract with just 1 year with Dovizioso if Andrea asked for this contract. I think that they are, and I know that they are doing something outside of the races that is in favor to Dovi. So I think that they are trying to have a new contract with Andrea Dovizioso. But I think also that it's not easy, because Dovi asks something not just for the money, but we have seen in the last season, they always try to keep another rider instead of Dovizioso. And Dovizioso is the only one that has won with Ducati in the last years. But they always asked for Lorenzo, for Miller, for Petrucci, for Paul Espargaró, because they also contact to Paul Espargaró. So it's not easy, in my opinion, that Dovizioso will remain in Ducati, but I think that now it's a little bit more, there are some more possibilities more than before. But just one thing about Ducati and the other guys, everything is crazy, Franco, in my opinion, because they choose, for example, Miller, but Miller in 2019 made worse than Petrucci. For example, Petrucci won 1 race, Miller no, but they decided for Miller. They decided to replace Miller with Martin. Martin Martin, but Martin in the last year was not so fast. He was Binder was much better than him, and they took it about results of 2 years ago in Moto3. It's very strange. Probably is a good talent, the best talent, the best young talent, but everything is very strange in my opinion.
Okay, Michel.
Yeah, and what about KTM? Because now they have to find, if it's confirmed that Paul leaves to Honda, they have to find a new rider. And we all know that they were very pissed off with the riders coming from Yamaha, so they would like to, they need to find a rider very aggressive to adapt to the RC16. So, like you said, they had an idea with Martin. They lost him, so they have to find. They have, because now who they have? They have Lequena, Oliveira, and Binder. They need to find a leader. I mean, a rider with experience. So obviously, maybe it's a chance for Danilo.
Okay, from what I knew, KTM didn't want Danilo until last week. I was told by his manager that KTM didn't desire to have Danilo in the team. But I ask you, listening to Giovanni, what would you do if you were Andrea Dovizioso? Because the chance also for Dovi to profit of this situation, and maybe who knows, taking a chance and switching to KTM could be a very good idea, no?
Well, I think it depends on what he wants. You know, in Ducati, he has a continuity. He knows that he can win. On KTM is a new adventure. It depends on really what he wants, because he can choose. And also, of course, the cash.
Yeah, sure. How old is he now, Manuel? We are speaking about riders who are they are at the end of their career. Even Paul is not a young rider. He's 29 this year.
Yeah.
So
but
his money.
What do you do? What would you do if you were Andrea?
Me?
Would you take?
If I was Andrea, which I'm not, I would stay at Ducati. I think yeah, definitely 100%. And unless I was really pissed off about something, So sometimes, I mean, we know that he has a difficult relationship with Gigi Dall'Igna, and Ducati have been not particularly good at kind of some of the management. If you speak to riders or mechanics that have worked there in the last years, the management don't seem to treat people with the correct kind of respect. So unless there's some personal problem there between him and some people in Ducati, I would 100% stay there. Yeah.
Manuel?
I would go to KTM. If I were Dovi, I am not, but I would go to KTM, because Dovi he has done 3 times runner-up. He has won a lot of races. He has shown What else can he perform or show in Ducati? Okay, he's at the end of his career. I would go to KTM, would try to make the KTM a good bike, and then bye-bye Fräulein.
Cash first for you, Manuel.
Sorry?
Cash first for you.
Zam, what do you think about what Manuel said?
I agree with Manuel. I think that Dovi, he believes that he could win again. So stay in Ducati, it will be the best solution if you want to win. But it's true that he probably want to try something else.
Okay, Michel.
Yeah, just one thing. I think that KTM wanted him strongly last year, but since they got Danny as a test rider, their view has changed a little bit, because I think that Danny helped a lot the test team and the development of the bike. From what I heard from Tech 3, I know they're very happy with him, and maybe they don't need as much as they need in the past to have a very experienced rider on the bike.
Yeah, but
So-
Michel, don't forget that he is 3 times second. He's
sure.
the anti-Marquez the last 3 years.
Is him, sure. No doubt of it.
But Pedrosa could be back in KTM for all the year.
No?
Pedrosa,
No,
his
no,
life,
Contino.
his life is too relaxed. The same way, allow me, the same way. It might sound cruel, but for me, Lorenzo is a completely ex-rider. If you remember his last season in Honda, it was a disaster. Yamaha didn't allow him to ride the 2020 prototype. We have seen through the social media, for me, he's more an ex-rider than ever. So to take him back would be an immense risk.
But I was talking about Pedrosa, Manolo.
Yeah, but I speak about Lorenzo. Pedrosa is very happy in Switzerland. No stress.
Yeah.
You can see in his face and his body language. He's in a wonderful life now.
It was the perfect season this year. No journalists, no people, no fans.
Yes, Michel.
We can also think about the fact that this long break could affect the maybe not the wheel, but the can change the view of some riders of what they want to do in their life. And I think we didn't speak about Valentino, but yeah, maybe it could be a surprise that at the end of the year he decides to stop because he had time to understand what could be his life without bike. So maybe some of the riders who are at the end of their career could have change their mind about the
Michel,
wheels.
Probably some of the journalists as well at the end of his career.
Yes, Matt, yes, please.
I wonder whether I should change the subject and talk about us, because I don't know whether fans know, but we are currently in discussions with Dorna. I know some people have already talked about this on. I think GP1 did a story about it and so on. We are currently in discussions with Dorna to try and get access to the paddock, because at the moment, myself, Zam, Michel, and Manel, Franco doesn't come to the races generally, but none of us will be allowed to go to the races because of the virus. And I obviously understand that Dorna have had to shrink the paddock to the absolute minimum, unless you're an essential worker, unless your job is actually in making the wheels go around, literally, then you're not coming. But it's a worry for us journalists. Personally, I can understand if we're not allowed in the first 2 races at Jerez, because this is just Dorna putting its toe in the water. Just, and nothing must go wrong. But after that, I think if we are still banned from the paddock 100%, then this is a slightly worrying precedent, that they begin to think, well, maybe we don't need journalists, so, and in which case all of us will be retired. You will not hear from any of us ever again. So, I wonder what fans think about that. Do they care? Maybe they don't. I don't know. But it's a sort of interesting. I know it's about us, but it's an interesting side story to this whole business.
Yeah,
Well,
it's the Trump theory applied to MotoGP.
Yeah.
Well, it's something maybe, Matt, that, as you said, people can't still understand because of the fact that the championship has not begun, and so they didn't get any result of the fact that you will not be there. But for sure, we will be affected by the non-presence of you talking and reporting the way we are used to be, taking part of the whole world of the MotoGP. That's the meaning. I talk as a viewer,
but Franco, they will get information.
But the information you get is very different, Manuel. We will get plain information for everybody, which is something that we don't want, as a fans and supporters of MotoGP. So it's going to be very sad.
We will see.
We will see. Okay, you didn't say anything about the LCR team, Lucio Cecchinello. What's the role of the team? You think is going to be happy? How will Lucio manage Cal if he will be the one to leave the team? What do you think about that, Zam? Okay,
sorry. No, I heard the quotes of Carl that he spoke about this, and he was like, I don't say, how do you say in English, Pilatus? Matt, Pilatus, the one who washed the hands.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
I'm not sure, but I understand what you mean.
Because he says, I would like to sign my 2 riders again. And then we open the eyes. And then he says, but it's down to Honda to make the deal with Crutchlow, and Honda decides whether they will continue helping Nakagami. So at the end, he washes his hand and says, it's not down to me. I got the riders told.
The job of an independent team now generally is to bring up, is like a junior team, isn't it? Pramac, LCR, Petronas is as a junior team, and Cal isn't. I know he's a kind of test rider. He's a kind of a mule, isn't he? He does that kind of work. They have some new parts, and generally they give them to Cal before they give them to Mark, because Cal can save Mark some time. But really, you would say that Cecchinello needs a new young rider, or Honda need a new young rider, and maybe Alex Marquez would be it. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay, Zam, you want to say something?
No,
before?
I think the same of Matt. I think that for Lucio Cecchinello is a good solution. Is a good solution, because Alex Marquez, if he will go to Lucio Cecchinello team, he has a contract with HRC. He has many things that he can put inside the box of Lucio Cecchinello. So for me,
a good option.
Would be a good option.
Okay, Michel.
Yeah, and I think he will get some sponsor like Estrella Galicia, who is important for them. So yeah, I think for Lucio is in a good position. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, guys, for being with us. We will see you next week, unless there is a big opportunity, big news coming from the market, crazy market, as we said, from this crazy championship. So thanks, Matt. Have a good day. Michel, bonjour, au revoir. Ciao, bonne journée. Manuel Pessino. Ciao, Manuel.
Adios.
Adios, amigo.
Adios.
Giovanni Zamagni. Ciao, Zam.
Ciao a tutti.
Auguri per il tuo Milan. Good luck for your Milan.
È 2 mesi che non perde. 2 mesi che non perde.
Very good, very good. Okay. Ciao.
Ciao a tutti.